All right. Hello, my name is Tory. I would like to take the opportunity to share some of the things that I've been through, things that molded me from who I was into who I am today. I come from what some would call a broken home. My mother was addicted to crack cocaine, and my stepfather was an alcoholic drug addict. I also had an older brother who had a drug addict. In my house, domestic violence, alcohol, and drugs was a regular, everyday affair. At the age of 9, I accidentally caught my school on fire by sticking a paperclip inside of an electrical socket. The school caught fire, and I was expelled from all Orange County schools in Florida. It made it really hard for my mom to keep me in her custody while battling her addiction and having a problem child. So she sent me to a boys' home where I spent 4 years. After spending the time in the boys' home, my mom came and got me, and off to Michigan we went. Once in Michigan, I was introduced into an environment where drugs was an everyday lifestyle. There wasn't anyone in my life that didn't use, well, maybe a couple, but as a 13-year-old kid, drugs were more appealing than anything else I had going on. My mother couldn't control me. I was in and out of different juvenile homes and homes for boys for my drug use and various crimes. When I was at the age of 14, my stepdad asked me if I wanted to learn the family business. He took me out into the shed and he showed me that he was manufacturing methamphetamines. I began to use and sell drugs, rob innocent people, and do some of the most heinous things. All I cared about was getting high. After the first taste, that's all I wanted. As a result, I ended up in prison not once, but 4 different times. While I was in prison, the only thing that I could think about was getting back to the streets and finding a way to beat the system. After spending 78 months in prison, I paroled to my mom's house in Tennessee, where little did I know that she was supplying her little town with methamphetamines and she was being investigated by the federal government for trafficking methamphetamines. I decided to come back to Michigan in 2017. I was in an extremely bad accident. I took a 2 milligram Xanax for the first time, and then I ended up stealing a car from the Firekeepers Casino. And I was traveling at 101 miles per hour. I ran a stop sign and I caused a horrific accident. I ended up going to prison. While in prison, you would think I would take the necessary steps to better myself, but no. Instead, I continued to find a way to try and beat the system. Instead of doing the right thing, I continued to do the things that I knew were wrong because I just didn't care about life. Well, I didn't care enough about myself, so how could I care about anything else? Upon my release from prison, I had set up what I thought was going to be a healthy support, so off to Georgia I went with my brother, trying to create a functional lifestyle and stay with my brother, but to no avail. My brother was in a deep, dark addiction with heroin and meth, and I began to use with him. I finally reached my breaking point and decided to come back to Michigan. I moved in with a friend who had all my best interests at heart, but out of boredom and the lack of instant gratification, I decided that having a stable lifestyle simply wasn't for me. I decided to go back to the fast lifestyle, the easy money. Soon after, I started using heavily again. The drugs started to consume me and everything that I was. Eventually, I was diagnosed with bipolar, mania, schizophrenia, and psychosis, which I believe was all drug induced. I would hear voices telling me what to do, where to go. They took over my everyday movements. I had no control whatsoever. I thought I knew everything. I didn't believe that there was enough help in the world for someone like me, but I ended up getting in some trouble and put in front of the same judge who had previous dealings with me. He told me that he wanted to give me one more chance. But you would think after all this time he would have gave up on me by now. But he was going to give me a chance to complete the drug court program so that I could keep my freedom and hope that I would change for the better. I spent 4 months in jail, which gave me ample time to reflect. I knew I had to make a change, and if I didn't, I was either going to die or die inside the state penitentiary. Recovery has finally given me a life worth living. My recovery journey started with various sober living environments and one that really wasn't. I knew I had to do better for myself, so I reached out to open doors to possibly enter the shelter or maybe even be housed. I had my interview with Katie, and after she checked into my background and what I was doing in the recovery community, she thought that I'd be a great candidate for the housing program. I was ecstatic, to say the least. I moved in and began to work on my credit and start to save. My case manager, Matt Ray, and Program Director Katie Osborne stayed on top of me in the friendliest way about purchasing a home. They would invite me monthly to homeownership class with Treadstone, but I thought I wasn't quite ready until I actually showed up. Little did I know that I checked all the boxes to become a homeowner. The ODK staff was very helpful throughout the whole home buying process and even came to the signing with me and were part-time therapists. Open Doors has literally opened so many doors for me in the community. I could stand here all day and give superlatives about how much the ODK has meant to me in the renewal of life, but I wouldn't do it any justice. I am grateful today. I'm a homeowner, a new father, and I owe a great deal to the ODK and staff. Without them, I don't know where I'd be today. Thank you.